We are less than 2 weeks away from the total solar eclipse event of the year, which means many of you will have an opportunity to capture one of the most amazing photos of the sky you've ever taken. But pointing a camera at the sun isn't without its hazards. Luckily, we have some new tools to help with this process, like this ND1000000 filter from K&F Concept. If you're not familiar, ND stands for neutral density. Photographers typically use these filters to reduce light for long exposures like these artistic waterfall photos I've captured over the years. These shots were filtered down as much as 4 stops, but this filter gives a full 20 stops of light filtering, making it possible to safely point a telephoto lens at the sun. Filters like this were not widely available during my first solar eclipse, but K&F sent this over for some testing, so whether you're in this year's path of totality or want to be ready for an upcoming opportunity, we're going to find out how this filter might help you to prepare for your next eclipse. Before we get into it, there are several things to keep in mind about photographing the sun. While most cameras are safe to point at the sun while using a wide-angle lens, telephoto lenses focus that light like a magnifying glass, which can cause damage to your camera sensor, so you want to be careful to protect your equipment. If I'm already angled at the sun, I always keep the filter on while fully zoomed in. Along those same lines, never look directly at the sun with your naked eye or through the optical viewfinder if your camera has one. Permanent damage to your eyes can happen very quickly. Instead, use Eclipse glasses like these and only use the camera's LCD display or EVF if available to frame your shot. And as one more tip, if you're gearing up to photograph the eclipse, make sure to do some practice shots of the sun before the day of the event. Getting familiar with your own setup will make it easier to remove and apply the filter at the appropriate times, ensuring that you capture your best shots. In order to properly test this filter, we should establish some kind of baseline. As mentioned, there are other ways to protect your lens from the sun. For my first eclipse, I used this paper filter. In subsequent years, I got this specially fitted telescope filter for my 8-inch Celestron telescope. Since this is my first time using an ND filter to capture the sun, I definitely want to make some comparisons to these other methods. With the paper filter, the main advantage is how easy it is to take off at the moment of totality. For that 1 to 2 minutes, it is very convenient to just remove this little cover and start shooting. The downside is that these can be awkward to pack up and are vulnerable to scratch damage, which would make the filter unsafe for future use. I've been careful enough with this one that it's still usable, but added caution is necessary with these materials. The same is somewhat true of the specially formatted telescope-mounted filter, but because of this rigid design, it's a lot easier to pack up and store. The downside here is going to be the cost, much more expensive than the other options. But if you own a telescope, you are already pretty familiar with expenses of this nature. Everything about a telescope is pretty expensive, making this a somewhat odd comparison to begin with, but I still think it's worth mentioning. With the ND1000000, we don't have to worry nearly as much about incidental scratches because it's made out of glass instead of film, and K&F sends them out in these nice little cases to protect the filter when not in use. The main downside to this option is that it will not be as easy to apply and remove. The primary purpose of any of these filtering options is to help you achieve perfect focus before totality. Because telephoto lenses are pretty sensitive to micro adjustments, there is a chance that you could throw off your carefully tuned focus when unscrewing the filter from the end. This is why I mentioned getting some practice in. Now, if your telephoto lens can lock focus, then you're all set, but otherwise you'll want to train your hands at the careful removal process. The added advantage, though, is that there isn't any chance of losing the filter once it is on. And I should also mention that depending on the lens, you may have better access to the manual focus ring. But one downside to ND filters that isn't often talked about is how they can tend to soften up a shot, especially the higher strength filters. Well, this is certainly the highest strength ND filter I've ever used, so how sharp are the images? That can be trickier to determine than you might think. Here is my first test image with this filter, and if you look close you might think that I either missed focus or that this filter actually does make sharpness impossible. But one additional thing you need to know about photographing celestial objects at telescopic fields of view is that atmospheric turbulence is very common. That's these wavy distortions you'll sometimes see. When I noticed that on my viewfinder, I decided to wait a little while and try again, and that definitely paid off. At 300mm, I am having to crop a little bit here, but this is quite sharp. I'm impressed, and this is all it takes to get your camera ready for that perfect moment. When we compare the outputs from this ND filter to the paper filter, you'll immediately notice a difference in color. It might seem that the paper filter retains more color, but the actual truth is that solar filters just leave a warm color cast on the image. The next thing you'll probably notice is at the same capture settings, the image from the paper filter is a bit brighter. When we adjust the images to match using a raw editor, we discover that it's a little less than 2 stops difference, making the ND1000000 the most powerful of the filtering options. From this view, I want to draw your attention to how the paper filter leaves a haze around the sun that the ND filter does not. That can be a kind of artistic choice, but technically speaking, this is actually reducing the sharpness of the image, which is easy to see up close. I'd have to say that from my testing, this is the biggest advantage to using the ND filter to photograph the sun. Now, from a product line standpoint, there are going to be some limits. I'm not familiar with an ND filter the size of my telescope aperture, so if you want images this large and detailed, you'll have to stick with a film solar filter. But for a standard telephoto lens with a filter thread, a powerful ND filter is a much better choice. Alright, so if you have your filter and you're getting ready to capture an eclipse, here is what you should expect. From the time the moon first begins to overlap the sun to the point of total eclipse will usually take somewhere around an hour. Totality itself is very brief, sometimes a little more than 2 minutes, sometimes a little less. Timeanddate.com features a very cool page on their site to help you plan your shoot. Clicking anywhere on this map will give you the commencement timestamps of each phase in local time. Let's say, for example, that you'll be in Leon, Spain on the day of the eclipse. It looks like you'll start to see the partial eclipse at 7:32 p.m., with totality occurring at 8:28 p.m. Leading up to that moment, you will need to continuously adjust the angle of your camera as the sun moves from east to west across the sky, so choosing a good tripod with decent vertical clearance and smooth components for adjusting and locking off your shots will be crucial. When the image you see on the screen starts to look like this, it's time to take off the filter. Be ready to adjust your ISO and shutter speed. These settings are going to be very different depending on your camera model, but the important thing is to keep your shutter speed at 1/250 or faster so that the sun's movement doesn't smear the image. Also, make sure that your camera is set for a shutter delay. For me, 2 seconds was enough, and I recommend keeping it short to make the most of the short time you'll have. For a moment, you'll see what they call the diamond ring, a bright spot on the leading edge trailed by a white circle. As it quickly vanishes, you'll reach totality. Don't be afraid to experiment with your camera settings here. There's an opportunity here to capture both the white corona and solar atmosphere, as well as some coronal mass ejections around the edges if you reduce your exposure. Take lots of shots and videos, but also don't miss the opportunity to just look up and take it all in. I can promise you from experience, this will be one of the most surreal moments of your life. So if you are someone who lives in or is planning to travel to the path of totality, I hope you find amazingly clear skies for the event. If you're looking ahead to this or any other future solar eclipses, or if you just want to experiment with photographing sunspots, I'd recommend ordering one of these powerful ND filters threaded for your telephoto lens. If you use code DESMOND at checkout, you'll also get an added discount on your purchase. As a bonus to this test and review, I also had a chance to try out one of K&F's light pollution filters. I have not used many of these in the past, but when I took it out to the edge of my neighborhood to try to shoot some stars, you could definitely tell how it reduced light noise during long exposures. A filter like this does reduce light in general, but not as bad as I might have guessed. Most of it is in the spectrum found with city lights. I used a star tracker to capture some extended long exposure images to try to find out if there is any utility for capturing our galaxy. Of course, you're first going to notice the blue cast it leaves on your images, but if we adjust the color to compensate for that as we compare the before and after images, we find that the overall drop is not that much, only half a stop. And when you zoom in on these patches of nebula, you'll notice that the bright areas stay bright and the dark areas are noticeably more contrasted, which is exactly what we'd want to see from this kind of filter. Now, this isn't going to completely neutralize light pollution from cities or the moon, but if you simply can't get out of civilization to photograph the night sky, pairing this with a star tracker will definitely compound the benefits over time and help you produce something decent from your own backyard. This filter will also be linked in the video description. Speaking of star trackers, I actually have a new one coming in the mail soon, so I hope you'll stick around for that review. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like some of my previous lens reviews, so be sure to check those out. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.